Never stop reading the Bible. Today, we're diving into 3 of the most intense, most vivid chapters in the entire book of Revelation. We're going to break down these incredible visions of powerful beasts, cosmic showdowns, and what the text describes as the ultimate victory. So let's get right into it.
So, what does a vision of the world's final conflict look like? Well, the book of Revelation paints an incredibly dramatic picture to answer that very question. At its core, it's a series of symbolic visions, right? It's showing this epic clash between divine authority and, well, worldly powers. So let's explore exactly what this ancient text describes.
Okay, first up, chapter 13, the 2 beasts. This is where we get introduced to the key antagonists in this whole cosmic drama. The text describes these 2 really powerful entities, just called beasts, and they're the ones driving the persecution.
So the vision kicks off with this truly formidable creature rising up out of the sea. And as the text describes it, its appearance is this mashup of several powerful animals, which is meant to symbolize this terrifying concentration of worldly power.
Yeah, this thing is just a collection of powerful symbols. The text says it's got the body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. But get this, it's not just its own power, it's wielding the power of the dragon. And what really makes it so influential is this seemingly miraculous resurrection from a mortal wound. I mean, an event like that, the text says it captivates and deceives pretty much the whole world.
And just when you thought one beast was enough, a second one appears. But this one's different. It doesn't come from the chaotic sea. It rises from the earth, which suggests, a totally different origin and a different kind of power.
Now, this second beast is all about deception. The text says it has 2 horns like a lamb, but it speaks like a dragon. That contrast tells you everything, right? It reveals its true allegiance. Its whole job, its entire purpose, is to promote that first beast. And it does this by performing these great signs, these miracles, all designed to deceive people and force them to worship the beast from the sea.
And of course, this leads us to one of the most famous or maybe infamous symbols from the entire book. You know the one. This second beast enforces a whole system where you can't buy or sell anything without getting a specific mark, and the text identifies the number of the beast's name as 666.
Okay, let's shift gears now to chapter 14, Reward and Judgment. After all that intense persecution, the perspective does a complete 180. This chapter is all about contrast, the fate of those who follow the beasts versus the reward for those who stay faithful.
And this scene just completely flips. Now we see the Lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him are the 144,000. Now that's a symbolic number representing all the redeemed. They've made it through the conflict, and here they are, standing in victory, singing this brand new song that the text says only they can learn.
So the chapter lays out these 2 very different destinies, and it does it through the proclamations of 3 angels flying through the sky. The messages couldn't be clearer. You've got one path that leads to reward, and the other leads to the fall of Babylon, which is a symbol for corrupt worldly systems and ultimately divine judgment. The big takeaway here is this urgent call to endure, to hang on, and to stay faithful through it all.
And this separation is painted with some really powerful imagery. 2 different harvests. First, there's a harvest of grain. This is gathered by a figure described as being like a son of man, and it represents, the gathering of the righteous. But then, there's a second harvest, a harvest of grapes. And these grapes are thrown into what the text calls the great winepress of God's wrath. It's a pretty stark and dramatic symbol of final judgment.
And that leads us right into chapter 15, which is all about preparing for that wrath. This chapter is like the prelude to the final series of judgments. The whole atmosphere is this really solemn preparation taking place in the heavenly realm.
But before those final judgments are unleashed, the vision does something interesting. It cuts back to those who are victorious over the beast, and they're seen standing on what's described as a sea of glass mixed with fire. What a beautiful and powerful image, right? It speaks to both their purity and the trial they've been through. And what are they doing? They're singing a song of praise because they've made it through the great tribulation.
Okay, and now the final sequence is set in motion. It's very ceremonial. First, the temple in heaven opens. Then, 7 angels emerge, and they have one job: to deliver the 7 final plagues. They're each given a golden bowl filled to the brim with the wrath of God. And as this is all happening, the temple fills with smoke from God's glory and power. It gets so thick that no one can even enter until the plagues are finished. It's a clear sign that this judgment is unstoppable and absolutely final.
So, from terrifying beasts and a mysterious number to cosmic harvests and bowls of wrath, these chapters are just absolutely packed with symbolism. Which really leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? Why? Why do these ancient, powerful visions of justice, conflict, and judgment continue to resonate so deeply with us and captivate our imagination, even thousands of years later?
Thanks for watching. This explainer was sourced from materials by the Center Studio.